You never know what could happen. There could be leaks. I remember the awful thing that happened to Jennifer Lawrence as well. That must be an horrific experience.
Reese Witherspoon just revealed a shocking truth after Blake Lively reportedly attempted to ruin her career. And honestly, what did Blake think would happen next?
She's good at playing a villain. To an extent, she is.
From taking over movie ideas to overshadowing her co-stars, Blake has built a reputation for stealing the spotlight. This time, her target was Reese. But Reese, ever the clever Hollywood strategist, showed in her signature fashion why she remains the true queen. After all, Hollywood feuds are pure entertainment, awkward, dramatic, and utterly irresistible.
Reese Witherspoon was definitely having a dig at Blake Lively here, although Blake Lively's team says it's not true and it was never her in those photos, and they were all like they were fake.
When two A-listers like Reese Witherspoon and Blake Lively go head-to-head, you don't just watch, you savor every second. Once the embodiment of charm and Hollywood perfection, these two powerhouses are now locked in a feud so juicy that even the tabloids can't keep pace. This isn't your typical spat over seating at the Met Gala. It's a high-stakes clash of ambition versus authenticity, unfolding in the ruthless arena of Hollywood. It all began with The Quiet Years, a film close to Reese's heart, crafted to be a thoughtful, layered story that stood apart from formulaic blockbusters. As an actress and producer, Reese's reputation promised excellence. Then came Blake Lively, the golden girl of glamour with an instinct for elegance and a talent for stealing scenes. On paper, she seemed like the ideal collaborator for Reese, but what followed played out more like a behind-the-scenes episode of Mean Girls. Blake, reportedly brimming with confidence, stepped onto the set seemingly ready to claim credit for every creative decision. Rather than staying within her role, she allegedly took over every aspect of production, rewriting lines, redirecting shots, and even influencing costume choices. And honestly, that's nothing new for her. Blake has a pattern of turning partnerships into solo acts, as seen in her rumored disputes with Justin Baldoni, where she managed to reshape entire projects around her vision. She's not content with acting, she wants to write, direct, and design, too, only to play the victim when the chaos unfolds. On The Quiet Years, her involvement reportedly grew so overbearing that whispers of creative conflict spread through the industry like wildfire. Blake was said to have hijacked the project's direction with all the grace of a bull in a china shop, while Reese, ever the consummate professional, tried to stay focused. But Blake's interference didn't stop. If she wasn't reworking the script, she was rearranging the lighting or set design, insisting no one else matched her artistic insight. The irony? Reese, with an Oscar and decades of experience producing hits, was being sidelined on her own film. What began as a dream collaboration between two talented women devolved into a full-blown Hollywood nightmare. Insiders claimed that the story Reese had poured her heart into was slowly morphing into a vanity project designed to showcase Blake's vision. Creative tension turned the set toxic, leaving even crew members unsure whose direction to follow. The project, once meant to be a celebration of depth and storytelling, became a battleground for ego and control. And in true Hollywood fashion, both stars emerged from the wreckage with perfectly curated smiles and vague statements about creative differences. But behind those PR lines lies a cautionary tale about power, pride, and the dangers of collaboration when both players are used to running the show. What was meant to be an elegant display of talent soon descended into a messy power struggle between Reese Witherspoon and Blake Lively. The supposed collaboration became an awkward tug-of-war, and to make matters worse, Blake reportedly didn't see a problem with any of it. Confidence is admirable, but this was overconfidence on steroids. What began as creative collaboration turned into a full-blown takeover, with Blake allegedly turning every project into a one-woman show, whether it was hers or not. Teamwork, in her world, seemed to mean everyone else stepping aside. Mixing Blake's domineering tendencies with Reese's pursuit of excellence was a recipe for disaster, and soon enough, the partnership imploded. By the time the dust settled, Reese had quietly stepped away, leaving Blake in control of a project that no one seemed interested in anymore. It was a tale as old as Blake's rumored need to micromanage everything around her. The fallout wasn't loud or public initially, but Reese's quiet exit sparked whispers about behind-the-scenes tension. Industry insiders suggested the split wasn't purely professional. There was emotional strain between the actresses too. Blake, however, pressed on with the quiet years, determined to make it her defining triumph. But when the film finally premiered, it failed to meet expectations. Critics and audiences alike found it shallow and uninspired, especially for a project marketed as a heartfelt, emotional masterpiece. The disappointment quickly turned personal, with backlash aimed at Blake's leadership and her alleged obsession with control. What was supposed to elevate her career instead cast doubt on her creative judgment, as Hollywood began questioning whether her style outweighed her substance. While Blake dealt with the fallout, Reese made a quiet yet powerful comeback. She developed Inheritance, a film that explored themes similar to The Quiet Years but with far more finesse and emotional intelligence. Released in the US on January 24, 2025, the movie became a critical darling. Audiences praised its innovative execution, shot entirely on an iPhone across various global locations, and Phoebe Dynevor's standout performance. It was subtle, but the message was clear. Reese had reclaimed the narrative. She didn't just move on from the drama, she turned it into fuel for her next success. The contrast between the two women's careers during this period couldn't have been sharper. Reese was celebrated for her authenticity, grace, and knack for meaningful storytelling, while Blake's career began to lose momentum. Rumors of her being overly controlling and difficult to collaborate with gained traction, leading to dwindling offers and strained professional relationships. Endorsements slowed, scripts stopped coming in, and her once glittering star seemed to dim. What might have remained a quiet Hollywood tale took a turn when Reese dropped an unexpected bombshell during a podcast interview. She candidly shared a personal story about a speech gone wrong at a British awards ceremony, an awkward moment involving a misunderstood roast that led to an estranged friendship with another A-list actress. The internet erupted as fans connected the dots, linking the story to Kate Winslet based on old footage and timelines. While Blake wasn't part of that particular anecdote, the story revealed something essential about Reese: her self-awareness, humility, and ability to own her mistakes and move forward with grace. In contrast, Blake's reputation painted her as a headstrong figure unwilling to compromise or self-reflect. Their diverging paths illustrate a deeper truth about Hollywood itself. Success in this industry isn't just about talent or ambition. It's about emotional intelligence, adaptability, and respect for collaboration. Reese's steady rise reflects a career built on genuine connections and thoughtful choices, while Blake's missteps highlight the dangers of chasing control and perfection at the expense of trust and teamwork. In the end, Reese's quiet resilience became her power, while Blake's loud confidence turned into her undoing. The Quiet Years was supposed to be Blake Lively's grand statement, a glossy, ambitious effort to prove she was more than a pretty face and a curated Instagram feed. The build-up was massive: cinematic posters everywhere, dramatic trailers, and a marketing campaign that screamed, "Film of the Decade." But when it finally hit theaters, reality didn't match the hype. Critics were merciless. "Beautiful but hollow," they said. It looked exquisite, but felt empty, like a designer-wrapped box with nothing inside. Sure, the shots were stunning, but without substance, the whole thing fell flat. Audiences tore into it too, calling it soulless and detached, a movie as relatable as a handbag you couldn't afford. It had all the elements of a powerful drama, but somewhere along the way, the story got lost. Soon, Hollywood insiders were whispering. Did Blake really think this was her big breakthrough? Did she even understand what she was doing? The chatter spread faster than Netflix's latest drop, and Blake's creative credibility hit the floor. This wasn't just a disappointing release. It was a wake-up call. The kind of Hollywood misstep that earns an eye roll and a polite, "maybe next time." Blake had entered the big leagues swinging, but Hollywood's response was clear: "Cute try." And before long, people were wondering, was she actually talented or just styled to perfection? While Blake was busy recovering from the sting, Reese Witherspoon was quietly plotting a comeback that would redefine the game. Her project, Inheritance, came with no drama, no flashy press, just Reese doing what she does best, delivering brilliance without the noise. This wasn't just another film, it was a masterclass in everything the quiet years tried and failed to be. Thematically similar, but infinitely sharper, Inheritance was pure storytelling finesse. Every critic loved it, audiences adored it, and suddenly, Reese reminded everyone why she's Hollywood royalty. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. She dropped it right as the world stopped caring about Blake's flop. A coincidence? Hardly. Reese Witherspoon doesn't do coincidences. She released her film like a queen reclaiming her throne, with quiet confidence and flawless execution. As the quiet years faded into oblivion, Inheritance soared to new heights, earning awards, praise, and admiration across the board. Reese had sent Hollywood a gentle reminder. She's still the gold standard. Meanwhile, Blake's story took a darker turn. Once the golden girl of red carpets and Pinterest boards, she became more gossip fodder than movie star. Her ambition, once admirable, had started stepping on too many toes, and in Hollywood, that's fatal. Rumors circulated about her being difficult, with directors whispering about her need for control and co-stars quietly keeping their distance. Some called it confidence, others called it diva behavior. Either way, the pattern was clear. Blake's shine was fading. The big roles started disappearing first, then the supporting ones, until eventually the calls stopped coming. Hollywood rarely forgives unchecked ego, and soon, her endorsements slowed, her magazine covers vanished, and younger stars took her place. Her once flawless image began to crumble, still glamorous on the surface, but fragile underneath, like a house of cards. Reese, on the other hand, was unstoppable. Every project she touched turned to gold. Her production company kept rolling out hits, and she collected accolades like souvenirs. While Blake stumbled under the weight of her own ambition, Reese glided effortlessly forward, measured, composed, and completely in control. It was the ultimate Hollywood irony. The quiet one won. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Reese, who had largely stayed above the drama, dropped a subtle bombshell on her podcast. In her easygoing, Southern charm, she told a story about a serious, proper actress who no longer spoke to her, a tale filled with tension, regret, and Hollywood gossip gold. The internet lit up instantly. Sleuths connected the dots, suspecting the unnamed actress was none other than Kate Winslet. The incident, Reese recalled, happened during the 2011 MTV Movie Awards, a night of glittering lights, red carpets, and star-studded chaos at the Gibson Amphitheater in Los Angeles. That night, Reese was receiving the prestigious MTV Generation Award. The crowd was buzzing, and everyone expected the usual heartfelt thank yous. Instead, Reese decided to throw a bit of shade, masked in charm. Standing on stage in her signature poise, she delivered a monologue that many interpreted as a jab at the new generation of actresses, those known more for scandal and self-promotion than skill. Among those in the audience, Blake Lively and her then-boyfriend, Ryan Reynolds, smiling through what quickly became an awkward moment. Reese's words, though never naming names, cut deep. It was the kind of Hollywood mic drop that had everyone talking, whether intentional or not. The speech added another chapter to the unspoken rivalry between the two women. Reese came off polished, witty, and in control, while Blake's camp reportedly fumed at the implication. Years later, that speech still echoes as a defining moment, not just of Reese's career, but of her ability to navigate Hollywood's treacherous politics with intelligence and precision. In the end, the quiet years and Inheritance became metaphors for their creators. Blake's film was all shimmer and no story, while Reese's was quiet but unforgettable. One chased validation, the other earned respect. Hollywood, ever fickle, had made its choice. When Reese Witherspoon took the stage at the 2011 MTV Movie Awards, the moment was supposed to celebrate her legacy, but it turned into something far more explosive. During her acceptance speech for the Generation Award, Reese dropped a line that made the audience collectively gasp. Without naming names, She remarked that young actresses could succeed in Hollywood without taking naked pictures of themselves on their phones. The timing couldn't have been sharper, coming just after an alleged photo scandal involving Blake Lively had dominated headlines. Though Blake's team had firmly denied the authenticity of those leaked images and taken legal action to have them removed, the damage was already done. Reese's pointed comment hit like a perfectly timed dart, leaving the crowd half laughing, half cringing. And while she didn't name anyone directly, the implication was crystal clear. Some even speculated that her words threw shade at the Kardashians too, but given the timing and the fact that Blake and Ryan Reynolds were sitting right there in the audience, it all felt a little too personal to be coincidence. That night cemented rumors of an unspoken feud between the two actresses, a rivalry that Hollywood insiders whisper still hasn't cooled. But things didn't end there. Internet detectives and fans, hungry for drama, dug deeper into Reese's history. Soon, another name surfaced, Kate Winslet. People resurfaced footage from the 2007 BAFTA Britannia Awards where Reese, while presenting an award to Kate, had cracked an awkward joke about laser hair removal. It was cringe-worthy, even by Hollywood standards. Yet, instead of dodging blame or spinning the story, Reese owned up to it. She later admitted that the joke bombed and even cost her friendship. That kind of honesty is rare in Hollywood, and it's exactly why people adore her. She's not flawless, but she's authentic. She makes mistakes, laughs at herself, and then moves on to create another success story. Her recent podcast confession wasn't just gossip, it was a reminder that even the biggest stars stumble. The difference is, Reese turns those stumbles into stepping stones. Where others would let embarrassment define them, cough Blake cough, Reese uses it to fuel her next win. She's the kind of powerhouse who can say, "Yeah, I roasted Kate Winslet. Now watch me produce the next hit movie." Reese's quiet dominance in Hollywood isn't about noise, it's about strategy. She's not the loudest or flashiest, but make no mistake, she's calling the shots. Her brand of success relies on intelligence, empathy, and genuine connection. She doesn't just network, she builds loyalty. She remembers birthdays, supports collaborators, and champions new voices through her production company. Reese's world isn't about competition, it's about community. That's why people don't just work with her, they stay with her. She's created an empire of trust, grace, and smart choices. Now, contrast that with Blake Lively's trajectory. She burst onto the scene like fireworks, brilliant, loud, and impossible to ignore, but the show faded too soon. Blake's rise was dazzling but chaotic, driven by ambition without the slow, steady finesse that defines Reese. Reese's career is a slow burn, polished and deliberate, like a marshmallow toasted to perfection. Blake's, on the other hand, sometimes feels like someone holding the marshmallow too close to the fire for the sake of a viral moment. Ambition without patience can be self-destructive, and in Blake's case, it showed. She treated Hollywood like a sprint, not the marathon it really is. And as she raced ahead, she tripped. On ego, on controversy, and on her own drive to control everything. Reese, however, mastered the art of timing. She knows when to speak and when to stay silent. She lets her work speak louder than her ego. That's the key difference between the two women. Reese plays the long game. Hollywood isn't built on single performances. It's sustained by relationships, humility, and adaptability. Reese has spent years producing films that uplift others, mentoring rising talent, and reminding everyone that kindness and collaboration still have a place in show business. While some stars burn fast and fizzle out, Reese's glow keeps expanding. Blake, meanwhile, has entered what many call rebuild mode. After her recent career missteps and diminishing box office power, she's trying to find her footing again. The talent is there, no one denies that, but in Hollywood, talent alone isn't enough. You need strategy, patience, and people willing to vouch for you. Reese built those bridges early. Blake, unfortunately, burned a few along the way. The difference now is that Reese's influence has grown beyond acting. She's a producer, an entrepreneur, a tastemaker, and even a book club icon. She's shaped culture while keeping her reputation pristine. Blake is still trying to figure out how to rebuild hers. Their feud, whether intentional or circumstantial, became more than a clash of personalities. It exposed two very different Hollywood philosophies. Reese's path shows that authenticity and collaboration win in the end, while Blake's story warns what happens when confidence tips into control. In a world that worships fame, Reese reminds everyone that power built on integrity lasts longer than hype. Hollywood is full of stars, but very few shine forever. Reese Witherspoon has made sure she's one of them. Blake Lively? Her story isn't over yet, but if this saga has proven anything, it's that the long game always wins.